Hi there, Jan Hall from Folk Roots Radio. It's great to be here today. I'm in my studio in Leamington. This is where I record all my interviews. Well, today we're going to be doing something a little different because we're actually going to be talking to Karen Morand, wonderful singer-songwriter from Windsor. I have to be honest, she's absolutely brilliant. I have heard her new songs live for the first time and just been completely blown away. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her today because she has another new song for us. It's entitled Never Enough. It will be on her next album, which is going to be entitled Ghost Hotel. Now, that album is not coming until 2022, probably at the start of the year. There's going to be a few singles beforehand, but we're looking forward to digging into that today. The neat thing is, and this is a first on Folk Roots Radio, is you can actually join us. I'm sitting in my studio by myself recording these video calls, which I've been doing for a couple of years now, having great fun and thinking, wouldn't it be great if somebody could just pop in and actually listen while we're doing the interview? They will go on the radio eventually, but now it's almost like just popping in the studio. So you can join us in the studio as I chat to Karen Morand on Folk Roots Radio. Remember, head to the website at folkrootsradio.com and check out all our interviews and episodes. I think we have well over 1,000 interviews on there, and I think we're up to nearly 572, I think, as the latest number of episodes. So lots of great stuff. And remember, you can listen to them on demand wherever you like to get your podcasts. So without further ado, it's my great pleasure to welcome back to Folk Roots Radio, Karen Morand. How are you doing today, Karen?
I'm very well, Jan, and it's good to be here.
You know, you're one of the people I've been wondering about over the last year, because the last year, I'm sure I don't need to tell anybody who might be listening to this that we are in the midst of a pandemic. The good news is maybe we're starting to see the other end of it, but musicians have been hit really hard by the shutdown. I know a lot of people don't really make any income at all if they don't get to play live. And I've always been thinking, well, I wonder what Karen's been up to. I think we know a little bit of what you've been up to now, but I thought a good time to check in and see how you've been doing over the past year.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it is really a strange time, and it has hit artists particularly hard. So I do have a part-time job, and so that allows me to kind of float things. And but I thought I'd take this opportunity to record. So I've been really quiet because I kept thinking, like everyone else, well, how long could this last? And so I didn't do much online. I didn't do much of anything. But I just got busy in the studio because we had a collection of songs and thought, well, now's as good a time as any. So we went to Kingsville, which is your next door neighbor. And we got busy in the studio at Sound Foundry with Brett Humber.
No, that's great. Now, this is the fifth album. I just want to take people back to the start. We had Carry On from 2012. And then I Think I'll Lose My Mind Today, which is one of those titles I love because I regularly lose my mind. We've done lots of interviews. That was 2014. Junkyard Heart from 2016, absolutely fabulous album. And I think one of the songs on that album actually didn't you win the Canada South songwriting competition?
Yes.
I can't remember which song was it.
I think it was Big Muddy.
Big Muddy, that's great. And that's a song we'll definitely be playing on Folk Roots Radio. Absolutely fabulous song. The last album, Every Flash of Light, was recorded, I think, with the wonderful Denny Gautier in London. Now, that was more of a solo recording, right?
It was. One of my band members was ill, and so we had this really quiet time where we just allowed him to get better. And so it was like almost a year. And again, I thought, what can I do other than solo shows? So I just took the opportunity to do a solo album, and Denny was game, and he had just had a sound that was different and something that really resonated with me. And so it was a little more gritty. And I think my music is slowly going in a different direction. And he was a big part of that.
No, that's great. Now,
Yeah.
those songs, I think there were a few of the songs on that album that were co-writes.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're with people from Nashville, right?
Yeah. So prior to the album, I was spending time with Linda McCrae, who's been a mentor for at least 10 years. And she lives in Nashville. And we co-write from time to time. And she suggested that I come to Nashville just for a writing trip. And I'd met some writers through her, through just friendships. So I contacted folks and told them my plan. I wanted to have a co-writing trip, and everyone was game. And it was amazing. It was, I think I did 4 days in a row of just solid writing with different people. And so, yeah, a number of those came out in Every Flash of Light. So there's a song with Linda, and a song with Steve Hindalong, and I'm drawing a blank, but there's more. Anyway, yeah, and co-writing is really becoming my new favorite thing. And so on this new upcoming album, there are a number of co-writes as well that I'm very excited about.
What do you like about co-writing? Is it, well, I'm going to jump in and say, because when I talk to you, I always find we always have a wonderful conversation because we
Mhm.
feed off each other so well. Is that kind of the thing with co-writing too?
It is. And so it doesn't always work because like a friendship, like a relationship, you have to have chemistry. So it doesn't work with everyone, but when you find it, and I'm very extroverted, and if I click with someone, it is like a conversation. Writing a song is like a conversation. So there is that energizes me. The other piece, though, is that I find I get into ruts. And it's not a bad thing, but it's like I always have the same topic that I'm writing. I feel like I'm writing the same song over and over again, and the same group of chords and the same. And so when you collaborate with someone, they have a completely different point of view and they have their own rut. And you combine those two things and then you come up with something completely different that you couldn't have come up with on your own. And it's a really amazing process.
Right. And I mean, it must be like alchemy, right? You know, you just suddenly, this amazing thing happens. And when it happens really well,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I'm just a DJ, right? I get to enjoy songs like the one we're going to play in a few moments. But one of the things that I really get off on is I love it when a song like this pops in my mailbox. It's like, wow, what a great song. But it must be even better for you when you actually are working with someone like that, and you know, and that amazing thing happens, right? I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about, you know, where these songs come from, you know, what sort of channeling occurs. I know Neil Young's very big on talking about that. You know, hard to explain when the song comes, but it usually is amazing. But that feeling must feel great, does it?
It is, and I'll have to check out Neil Young. I haven't heard what he has to say, but it's a mysterious thing where those songs come from. And I think like everything, I think everything is better when we're sharing it with others. So when we have, someone who's open to that process as well, and then you kind of can wonder together. A lot of artistic pursuit is solitary. And so you don't have anybody to go, wow, that was cool. Where'd it come from? You just end up talking to yourself a lot, or your dog.
Right.
So it's nice to have another person to go, whoa, what did, like it, and often it'll come out of a song, like a conversation. I had a conversation with David White from the Durham County Poets, and I was at his home and we're having coffee. And we had this foolish conversation about a housefly, and we stopped and we were like, "Oh, that's a song right there." And that's often how it happens when you're just kind of doing life together, and you both have your radars on for a great line or even just a word.
Well, certainly in these COVID times, I mean, I put out a lot of different radio episodes under, COVID times, under the COVID times banner, just, music episodes, because people have been sending me great songs. that they've written during this period of time, often not really thinking that they were writing what we call a COVID tune, but turns out to be something that really connects. And the first single from the new album, remember, the new album is entitled Ghost Hotel. It's expected early next year, 2022.
Yeah.
The first song is entitled Never Enough. Now, I think when you started to write this, you weren't necessarily thinking about, the connection to the pandemic, right?
Oh no, because it started off several years ago when I was part of a songwriting challenge with Nicole Colback out of Ottawa. She does from time to time an online song challenge. And so, yeah, this is definitely pre-pandemic. It was probably 4 years ago. And there was in a songwriting challenge, for those who don't know, a phrase or a word will be generated and thrown into a hat. And then, everyone has to write about that word or phrase. And in this particular case, it was never enough. And it's kind of cool. Like, everybody wrote a completely different song with the words in a different place. But this song came up in its infancy. And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, there's something here. And I worked on it with the band. And we kind of liked it, but it never hit the mark. We just kind of, so I shelved it for all these years. And then about a year or so ago, I decided to, it kept calling out to me in one of my dusty journals, like, finish me. And so I did. And that was pre-pandemic as well. So it wasn't until the pandemic hit that I thought, wow, this really resonates in this time, because it's so difficult for so many people, and we're also very idle. And so that's when things come at, like, that's when we start to overindulge, and sometimes when addictions rear their ugly heads. It's kind of a perfect storm for so many people. I think for most of us, in some form or fashion, we like to medicate ourselves and hope this all goes away real soon. And it can be very destructive. For some, it's just a guilty pleasure. For others, on the other end of the spectrum, it can be a problem.
Let's listen to that just now. This is Karen Morand's new single. We're lucky enough to have access to the lyric video. I think this song won't be available until April the 1st. Is that now? That is April Fool's Day, but you're not fooling anyone.
There's no fooling.
April the 1st, Never Enough from Karen Morand will be available. Let's listen to that now on Folk Roots Radio.
Do you hear me crying out to you when the day is done and nighttime falls around? And you go do what you do. Oh, baby, can you hear me crying out to you? Oh, love, don't let it get to you. You gotta give it up, give it all you got. But why'd you gotta make it so tough? With you, you know it's never enough. Do you hear me begging you to stay when the day's got the best part of you? And you go and hide yourself away. Baby, do you hear me begging you to stay? Don't push me away. Oh, love, don't let it get to you. You gotta give it up, give it all you got. But why'd you gotta make it so tough? With you, you know it's never enough. Oh, love, don't let it get to you. You gotta give it up, give it all you got. Why'd you gotta make it so tough? With you, you know it's never enough. Oh, 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 love, 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 don't let it get to you. You gotta give it up, give it all you got. Why'd you gotta make it so tough? With you, you know it's never enough. Oh, love, with you, you know it's never enough.
Wow, that was just amazing. I still got you muted. Oh,
Oh,
that was amazing.
Oh, thank you. I mean, this is going to sound weird, but I like it. Like at the risk of sounding, I don't know, other musicians will get this. We often like listen to our own stuff, like recordings or videos, and go, oh, you point out all the flaws. And but I like this. I like this song. I like this album. I enjoy it, like as a listener, not just the person who helped create it. And I know it sounds weird, but I think it's a good sign when you can like your own stuff and not cringe.
So tell us about the album. Now, it was made with the Bosco Boys. Now, I have to ask you about that because it always was just Bosco, Benny Santoro, and then Aaron Verholst.
That's right.
But they're now the Bosco Boys. And is this a promotion or have they got younger?
That's right. They're just more immature with every passing day. I just felt like we needed a kind of a new, a new branding. I don't know, because before actually we had a fourth member, Janet Snaden, and that's when we were Bosco. And then when it was just the boys, I thought, oh, I think we need to tweak our branding a little bit to reflect that. And it's just kind of a little more fun, a little more rootsy. And they're the same guys, but they get better. Man, they get better all the time, like playing wise, and like as our cohesion just gets better and better. It's an honor. I enjoy working. They're some of my favorite people.
Well, one of the things I got to say is when you play live with them, you really feel that really comes through strongly. Benny Santoro is on drums on this track. He also plays the cajon with Karen. Aaron Verholst is on guitar, and Brett Humber, who I think produced this with you at Sound Factory in Kingsville, he also plays a bit of guitar, and I really enjoy watching him play too. I know he's been playing a bit with Justin Latham lately, and I think they play real well together. He's
a really good guitar player. He sings on it too, on this track. Good. Yeah. And it's funny because I'd heard about Sound Foundry, Brett's studio, and I always thought they were like a rock and roll studio. So I never really considered them for a working relationship. And I went the last live show I went to pre-pandemic was Justin Latham's CD release in Leamington at the Bank Theater. And Brett, who also produced his album, was his guitar player. And I'm watching going, oh my, dang, he's a great guitar player. He has a great band, The Stride. They're great. And Brett's one of them. And I talked to Justin, and they rocked out, but they do a lot of folky stuff, a lot of rootsy stuff, and Brett's part of that too. And I thought, oh, well, maybe he doesn't mind getting his roots on. So I had a conversation with him, and we had instant chemistry. And so his guitar playing is tastefully woven throughout the whole album, and it's welcome.
On that track, you can really hear. I mean, again, these days, especially these days, I get so much music sent to me, but you can really tell when something is really well produced. And, the thing that's nice about this is that it's crisp, there's still space, and, your voice sounds great. And I really like this direction you're going in. I think this really bodes well for the future. Obviously, we're not exactly sure how the music industry will be after this. You're doing something a little different with this album, because I think you're going to release 4 singles over the next year, and
That's
then
right.
the album will come after that.
Yes.
Can you tell us any more details about the album itself? How many tracks, that sort of thing?
So right now we have 9 tracks that we've laid down, and they're pretty much in the finishing stages. Somehow and I've written some other songs in the meantime, so there might be more than 9, but right now that's what's there. I feel like 10 just feels more, I don't know, 9 feels a little bit lonely. So I don't know, we'll see. But there's 9 tracks, and they're all, like I said, in their completion stages. And we just decided, because we can't tour or have shows to promote the album, we might as well record single after single. And it seems to be a trend that a lot of musicians are taking. Some people just are sworn off albums altogether, and they're only releasing singles. So it's just that's how the face of the music is changing, and you know that yourself. And I don't think music will ever be the same after the pandemic, but I don't know. Maybe that's not a bad thing. It's just hard.
I actually kind of like the idea of the, releasing a single every month or so. My good friends, the Big Little Lions, Paul Otten and Howard Austin, are doing one a month. Not that I'm putting pressure on you or anything, but
that's exhausting.
I think it's good to get the music out there, especially because people are, they're spending a lot more time streaming music. So if you got something new and it, you feel real good about it, then, get it out to people and let them enjoy it. As far as live is concerned, obviously there's not much going on in the Windsor, Essex area at the moment. Do you have any plans? I mean, assuming that everybody in Canada gets vaccinated the way they hopefully will, to maybe get anything done towards the end of this year?
As far as like shows or touring?
Live shows, touring.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like, I think we would. Now the Bosco boys we're more low. They play with me locally. We don't usually travel too far afield together. So that's, I'm very open to that. As soon as we can play live shows here, like at venues, we will. But in the meantime, we plan on doing some outdoor stuff, just pop-up concerts. I live near a really great trail that looks out onto the Detroit River, and I plan on we're just going to show up and play some music, because I think people crave that right now. And just keep it loose and just get a chance to play and connect with people and maybe make some new friends.
No, they certainly do. They certainly do.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about your music, how can they do that?
Well, I think the best place to go is our website, which is karenmorand.com. And from there, you can see all my other socials and places to stream, and also to buy merch as well. So
that's great.
Drop on by.
It's been
sign up for the newsletter too. That's a great way to connect.
It's been great to talk to you today. Remember, Karen Morand's new single is entitled Never Enough. The album will arrive early next year. It's going to be entitled Ghost Hotel. You're listening to Folk Roots Radio. And I'm Jan Hall. And Karen, it's always fun. We need to do this more frequently, and maybe next time the single comes, we'll get it. I would love it. Maybe we can set up for you and the boys to play live for me. I would absolutely love that.
We would like that very much.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Well,
Jan. This
let's
was good.
Plan that down the road.
Sounds good.
And that's it, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to send me some feedback, you can get me on social media or via my email at jan@folkrootsradio.com. And remember, visit the website. That's where all of our recent episodes, all of the episodes actually, are there, plus our interviews. And you can also sign up for our newsletter. Thanks very much, Karen. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
And that's it. Great fun. I really enjoyed myself. We will see you next time on Folk Roots Radio. Remember, there will be new episodes going out to our syndicated radio stations this week, so definitely check out those. And I'd love to hear from you on Folk Roots Radio. Bye.